Okay, so today we're going to be looking at uploads and their effectiveness. And just to have a look to see if we can answer this question, are uploads sufficient? Is that all you need to do is just to test with one company and to upload your DNA to others? Because I know that's the advice that a lot of people give, and it's the advice that a lot of people read on the internet or hear from DNA speakers. So we're just going to look into that issue a little bit more. And we'll just start off by saying some ways that uploads are just fantastic. Well, why are they fantastic? They give us matches and they allow us to find matches in other databases. They save us money because we don't have to test with loads of companies. They provide access to different tools. So if you're using MyHeritage, you then get access to theories of family relativity. If you're using Family Tree DNA, you get access to their family matching tool. If you've tested with Ancestry and you do an upload, then you get to see a chromosome browser. So whatever site you upload to, you're going to see that segment data. And depending on where you upload, you may also get a haplogroup and you may get X matches. So there's loads of reasons why you should upload, and uploading is always advisable. But that doesn't answer if uploads are sufficient. So we're now going to just look at reasons why uploads may not be just as good as that. And it's really because different DNA companies are all testing different points within your DNA. So they're not all totally compatible. They're not comparing things exactly the same. And they're using a system called imputation, which is basically a series of informed guesses where they're looking at points that are matching and seeing what they think the outcome would have been if the other company would have tested the point that is used by that particular company. So imputation is what they have to do to make these systems compatible. But every single company has also changed the chips which they use for processing your DNA. So Living DNA, MyHeritage, Ancestry, 23andMe, Family Tree DNA, they've all made changes over the years. So there's been different versions of those tests available depending on what year you tested with a specific company. So even within the parent company's database, there is inconsistencies because they have used different chips that measure different points in your DNA. So the accuracy that you find within your match list is going to depend on a number of things. It's going to depend on the compatibility between the testing companies. So if there's more points tested that are the same, in theory, you should have a more accurate result. But then each company has to use this system of imputation. And obviously, they're going to do that in a slightly different way. So it may be that one company is doing imputation in a slightly different way. And because of that, it's more effective and it's more accurate in your match list. So that's another difference. And also, each of the companies have different criteria for what constitutes a match. They explain that in their white papers. And because of that, it means that some companies will call a match where others might say, well, maybe that's not just sufficient, and we don't want to call that one as a match at the moment because it doesn't meet our strict criteria. So because of that, all of these differences exist, and this is why uploads are not exactly the same as a test with a parent company. So we've looked at the advantages and the disadvantages, and now what I'm going to do is a comparison and just show you what I found when I did a little comparison within my own DNA results. So this is what we're using. And I got these figures from the ISOG autosomal page. And what they do is they show how compatible and how many points are the same on each of the different chips. And you can see here that 23andMe has got 4 different versions here, version 2, version 3, version 4, and version 5. And you can see here by looking down here how compatible they are with the other testing companies. So say, for example, you were to upload to Family Tree DNA. Well, if you're doing so, then you would be looking at this column here. And what you can see is that Family Tree DNA, they currently test 610,832 points within your DNA. Ancestry are testing 636, 23andMe are doing 613. And then what you can see is how compatible they are with the other versions of tests that there has been over the last number of years. Now, at the moment, our FTDNA does not accept uploads from MyHeritage version 1, and they don't accept uploads from Living DNA, but they do accept uploads from all of the versions of 23andMe and Ancestry. And you can see that there is a wide range in the compatibility of some of these tests. And it looks like MyHeritage, the most recent version of MyHeritage, is the most compatible, and the second most compatible is 23andMe. But you can see that the Ancestry one only has 191,000 points in common out of the 610 that Family Tree DNA currently test. So that is giving a discrepancy within the database. But that is an issue that has to be handled through imputation. And if imputation is done well, then you shouldn't notice much of a difference, because there is still quite a lot of an overlap. But if you want complete accuracy, you will want as many points to be the same as possible. So going on to my little experiment here. I recently looked at my version 2 Family Tree DNA kit, and I just looked at my most recent 50 matches. The reason I chose 50 was I thought it was a nice number, and it's the equivalent of 2 pages matches on Family Tree DNA. And then I compared them to 3 other tests. The first test I compared it to was an earlier version of Family Tree DNA, because I have tested with them twice. I tested under both of their chips. So I've compared with my original version of Family Tree DNA, and I've compared with an Ancestry upload, and I have also uploaded 23andMe. And again, it's the version 5 23andMe test that I've uploaded. So that's the 3 that I'm going to compare to the Family Tree DNA database. And the version 2 chip is the one that they use at the moment. And when I did that, this is what I got. So out of 50, I found that on a comparison with Family Tree DNA version 1, only 36 of the matches appeared on that test. So I got 50 on the version 2, and I got 36 of those appearing on the Family Tree DNA one. So that means that 14 didn't appear at all. I also missed out 14 on the Ancestry version 2 test, but it wasn't the same 14. And on 23andMe, I only missed out on 13. So there was 37 matching. But then on top of that, I found additional matches. Now, whether these matches are accurate or whether they are not accurate is a moot point. And that's something that would require more analysis. But I found 10 additional matches on my Family Tree DNA version 1 kit, 6 on Ancestry, and 13 on 23andMe. I also have differences in my total matches. I have 9,910 matches on the version 2 test, and you can see here I have just under 9,000 on the version 1 Family Tree DNA, but I have less on the Ancestry, maybe because it's not just as compatible. So I'm now missing out probably on about 1,400 matches on an Ancestry transfer. And on the 23andMe, I seem to have acquired more matches. And that may lead me to think that there's some inaccuracies in there. So there's some additional matches that may be appearing on the 23andMe upload that aren't being identified on a test with the parent company. So that would be a warning sign to me that I'm getting slightly more than what I would expect. Okay, so just looking at this in a different way, only 5 out of the 50 matched exactly the same across all 4 tests. So that's comparing the Family Tree DNA version 2 with the version 1 and the 2 uploads. Only 5 out of 50 matched exactly the same in centimorgans. They all had slight differences. Now, 6 matches didn't appear anywhere else. I only got them on the Family Tree DNA version 2 test. But then there was some matches that appeared on one upload but didn't appear on the other one. So if I look at these here, these add up to my 50. And what's happening here is these 27 matches appeared on all 3 comparison tests. So that's my version 1 Family Tree DNA and my 2 uploads. So 27 appeared on them out of 50. 11 matches only appeared on 2 of those 3 comparison tests. And 2 of them were detected on all 3 uploads, but they didn't appear on the version 2 Family Tree DNA one. So that was a strange result as well. So there is definitely differences across all of the tests. One good thing that I did identify was that all matches over 20 centimorgans were detected on all 4 tests. The first where there was inconsistency was one of 18 centimorgans. So the inconsistencies are definitely restricted to the smaller matches. And from that point of view, we can be assured that the biggest matches are the most accurate ones. But there's still going to be differences in segments detected and the total amount of DNA right the way up your match list. And one thing I did notice was that 11 matches on the 23andMe upload were not found on any of the other uploads. So I think that they're probably likely to be false. They all fell into the 8 to 15 range. And because of that, I think they are probably not ones that I would be relying on when I'm working on my family tree. So there is a big degree there of difference between all of the different tests. I also had a first cousin who tested recently. So I had a little look at her and compared her to the 4 different versions. Now, on the Family Tree DNA version 2, I matched her for 936 centimorgans. On the version 1, it came up a little bit just under 900, and again, around the same on Ancestry, and also on 23andMe. But they were all missing, say, 36, 37 centimorgans of DNA. So it means there's probably a segment or 2 that isn't going to appear there, but it was detected on the Family Tree DNA version 2 chip. And how I know that's the most accurate one is that both of us have tested all of the same points because we're both tested on the version 2 chip. So therefore, that has to be the most accurate one. There's no way it's not. So that is showing you that most of the DNA is being detected, but some of it's not. So even at the top of your match list, there's going to be some significant differences. And that's if you call 36 centimorgans of DNA significant. I would, because it would affect you on DNA Painter. But if you're not doing DNA regularly, you're maybe not that concerned about that. But I just wanted to let you know there is a difference even at the top of your match list. So just to conclude here, we'll find that not all DNA segments are being detected on uploads. So there's only about 10% of matches are exactly the same across a parent company and an upload. But of course, the most accurate comparison is always going to be the one that's tested on the parent company, because all of the points tested are the same and you're going to get the best comparison. Now, even within companies like Ancestry and MyHeritage, it's maybe not possible to know which chip you've been tested on. And therefore, you're not going to know if the test that you're saying is an upload. You're not going to know if that test was done 10 years ago and yours was done 2 years ago. And if so, it could be a slightly different version. So even within all of the databases, there is a degree of incompatibility. And this could cause small issues whenever you're looking at matches. But uploads are still very good. They're giving me a degree of confidence, but they're not perfect. They're not supposed to be perfect. And I would say about 27% of matches are not being detected on uploads. But the good thing is that all of the matches over 20 that I identified were detected. So there's probably some matches missing. There's also some false matches in there. And I would say that if you want consistent accuracy, you may want that because you're a user of DNA Painter, for example. Well, then you want to make sure that your results are as accurate as possible, because if you're looking at specific blocks of DNA shared, then you want to make sure that they're as accurate as possible. And that means that you probably need to test at more than one company if that level of accuracy is important to you. So it's something to consider, and I hope you find that interesting.